Welcome to today's deep dive into the invertebrates most closely related to vertebrates. Tunicates are an essential part of marine ecosystems, yet they're often overlooked, with complex life cycles, including both sexual and asexual reproduction, swimming larvae, and species that can live either in colonies or solitarily. Tunicates are full of fascinating surprises. If you're interested in learning more, check out the description for research papers and image credits. Let's start with the phylum Chordata. A common misconception is that chordates and vertebrates are the same. While all vertebrates are chordates, not all chordates are vertebrates. So what exactly defines a chordate? Chordates share several key traits, though in some species, these are only present during specific stages of their life cycle. First, they have a notochord, a stiff, flexible rod that runs along the back. It plays a key role in structural support and helps guide the development of tissues and organs. In vertebrates, the notochord is present during embryonic development, but is mostly replaced by the spine as the animal matures. They also have a hollow dorsal nerve cord, which develops into the spinal cord, the central hub of the nervous system. They have a muscular tail that extends past the anus. While this is another feature lost in the adults of many species, it is still seen in the larvae of tunicates and the embryos of vertebrates. Another trait is the presence of pharyngeal slits, openings in the throat region. These serve different purposes. In filter-feeding chordates they aid in feeding, while in fish they have evolved into gills. In most other vertebrates they exist only in the embryo. Finally, chordates have an endostyle, a groove in the pharynx that stores iodine. In filter feeders it helps produce mucus for capturing food. In vertebrates the endostyle functions differently. Over time it has given rise to a new organ, the thyroid gland. Interestingly, the larvae of lampreys are the only vertebrates to use an endostyle functionally. It later becomes the thyroid as the animal matures. The phylum Chordata includes three subphyla. The first is Cephalochordata, or the lancelets. There are around 30 species, although the number varies slightly, depending on the genetic analysis. Most species look similar and can only be distinguished through DNA. Lancelets resemble small fish and, unlike vertebrates or tunicates, retain all of the key chordate features throughout their lives. Next is Vertebrata, which is probably the most familiar group. They're traditionally described as animals with backbones, but that's not entirely accurate. For example, hagfish are vertebrates with a cranium but no backbone. A more precise definition is any animal more closely related to jawed vertebrates than to lancelets or tunicates. The third group is Tunicata, the Tunicates. These marine, filter-feeding chordates are known for their protective outer covering. While their larval stage displays all typical chordate traits, their adult form is highly modified. The name Tunicata comes from their most distinctive feature, a protective outer layer called a tunic. In older texts, however, you may see them referred to as Urochordata, which means tail chordates. This name emphasizes their larval stage, where they have both a tail and a notochord. Back in the 1800s, scientists classified animals based on internal structures. Since tunicates only show chordate traits in the larval stage, that stage was the main focus. Hence, Urochordata became popular. Today, genetic data plays a central role in classification. From that perspective, Tunicata is more accurate for a few reasons. First, adult tunicates lack both a notochord and a tail, so Urochordata doesn't fit the adult form. Second, modern taxonomic rules favour the earliest published name, and Tunicata was coined in 1816, before Urochordata appeared in 1866. You might wonder why this matters. It's worth knowing because you'll still come across the older term Urochordata in many scientific sources. So, what exactly is a tunicate? With over 3,000 species and a wide variety of forms, tunicates are incredibly diverse, which can make them a bit tricky to define. At their core, they are aquatic, filter-feeding invertebrates. Their juveniles, known as larvae, look similar to tadpoles and display the key chordate features, a notochord, a tail, and a dorsal nerve cord. But as they transition into adulthood through metamorphosis, their appearance and structure change dramatically. Many adult tunicates are sessile, meaning that they stay in one place attached to hard surfaces, like rocks, corals, shells, mangrove roots, boat hulls, or wharves. Others are free-floating or swimming, and many species form colonies made up of genetically identical individuals. Despite their variety, adult tunicates all share one defining feature, a tough outer covering called a tunic. This tunic is made of tunicin, a substance that's unique to tunicates that's chemically similar to cellulose. Although cellulose is common in plants and present in some fungi and bacteria, animals don't produce it, making tunicates unique among animals for having a cellulose-like substance. It's worth noting that although tunicin is chemically similar to cellulose, it's structurally different, making it a distinct compound. The tunic provides structural support and helps protect the animal from minor damage. It may also serve as a deterrent to predators and assist in preventing fouling, the accumulation of organisms or debris on underwater surfaces, which in this case would be the tunicate's own body. Because tunicates are soft-bodied, they don't fossilize well. However, the limited fossil evidence we do have suggests that they're an ancient group, with origins dating back to the early Cambrian period, over 500 million years ago. Their long survival speaks to their resilience, though the incomplete fossil record makes it difficult to know how abundant or widespread they were in the past. Their quick reproduction and ability to adapt to a variety of ecological niches likely help them thrive in changing environments. Molecular evidence indicates that the major tunicate lineages we see today began diverging between 350 to 450 million years ago. This means not only has the group as a whole endured over immense spans of time, but each lineage has also survived through multiple mass extinctions, making tunicates one of the most enduring branches of the chordate family tree. Tunicates are traditionally divided into three classes: Appendicularia, Thaliacea, and Ascidiacea. While the structure is still widely used, genetic studies have revealed that these groupings don't accurately reflect their evolutionary relationships, something we'll explore more later on. For now, let's begin with Appendicularia, commonly known as the Larvaceans. This class contains one order and three families, totaling roughly 70 to 100 species. They're called Larvaceans because, uniquely among tunicates, they retain their larval appearance into adulthood, a phenomenon called neoteny. As a result, they are the only tunicates to maintain chordate features like a tail and notochord as adults. The most studied family is Oikopleuridae, largely because of Oikopleura dioica, a model organism in developmental biology. Model organisms are species extensively studied to better understand biological processes, and O. dioica is ideal. It has a typical chordate body plan, is easy to keep and breed in captivity, produces many eggs, and has a rapid generation time of just 4 days at room temperature. Its transparent body reveals internal organs, and it's relatively simple, with only about 550 cells at hatching and roughly 15,000 genes, about half the number found in vertebrates. Larvaceans are free-swimming tunicates found throughout the world's oceans. They are the only tunicates whose adults have tails, which they use to generate currents that direct prey towards their mucus houses. These houses serve as filter-feeding structures, built from mucus secreted by specialized cells. Although Larvaceans themselves are small, their houses are much larger. O. dioica measures only 1 to 2 millimeters, but its house can reach up to 5 centimeters or 2 inches. Larger species, like Bathochordea stygius, grow to 5 to 10 centimeters, yet their houses can stretch up to a meter or around 3 feet. Larvaceans' feeding method is highly efficient. They can capture prey as small as 1/10,000th of their body size. The upper limit of their food depends on mouth size and varies between species. House shape varies by genus. In Oikopleura, the house surrounds the entire body. In Phalaria, it covers only part of the body. Shapes range from bubble-like to kidney-shaped to a ring-like structure around the animal. Different species maintain their houses differently. Oikopleura, for example, discards its house every 4 hours and builds a new one, while Fritillaria deflates and reinflates its house to clean and reuse it. These houses are nutrient-rich, and their regular discarding, along with Larvaceans' fecal pellets, play an important role in marine ecosystems. In Monterey Bay, discarded houses from Larvaceans are estimated to contribute to 1/3 of the carbon transferred from the surface waters to the sea floor. However, there is a downside. Their discarded houses also collect microplastics, which sink to the ocean floor and disperse microplastics throughout the water column. This has helped to explain the puzzling widespread distribution of microplastics in marine ecosystems. Larvaceans reproduce sexually, and most species are hermaphrodites, possessing both male and female reproductive organs. The main exception is Oikopleura, which has separate males and females that can only be distinguished during the last day of their life cycle. Typically, individuals will release sperm before producing eggs, a crucial sequence since egg production kills them. As they prepare for spawning, they stop feeding, and once eggs are released, their cells rapidly degenerate, usually dying within hours. Larvaceans have an incredibly rapid life cycle, with adults living only a few days after hatching. This fast turnover helps explain their large impact on marine ecosystems and their ability to frequently rebuild their mucus houses. The next class of tunicates is Thaliacea, a relatively small but ecologically important group with only 3 orders and fewer than 100 known species. It's thought that Thaliaceans evolved from sessile ancestors, but all living members are pelagic, meaning that they live in the open water column, similar to Larvaceans. However, unlike Larvaceans, Thaliaceans don't retain tails as adults. Instead, they move using jet propulsion, taking in water through one siphon and expelling it through another, propelling themselves through the ocean. A defining feature of Thaliaceans is that most form colonies, although some also have solitary phases. These colonies consist of multiple genetically identical units called zooids, each specialized for different functions, such as feeding, reproduction, or locomotion. By dividing tasks among zooids, the colony operates as a coordinated and efficient whole. However, it's difficult to talk about Thaliaceans as a single group without breaking them down into their separate orders, as all 3 are quite distinct. Even the traits mentioned so far, like colony formation and jet propulsion, work differently in each group. Let's begin with the order Doliolida, or the Doliolids. Individually, Doliolids are tiny, only about 1 to 10 mm long, and have a barrel-shaped body. They move using jet propulsion, drawing water in through an oral siphon and expelling it through an atrial siphon in the back. Their life cycle is highly complex, involving both sexual and asexual stages. It begins with a fertilized egg developed into a tail larvae, which lives only briefly before metamorphosing into an oozoid or a nurse. The nurse is genetically unique as it originates directly from the fertilized egg. The nurse reproduces asexually, producing new individuals along a stem-like structure called a stolon. These include up to 4 specialized types of zooids. Phorozooids, which can move away from the nurse and carry developing buds. Trophozooids, which specialize in feeding, gastrozooids, which help to digest and distribute nutrients, and gonozooids, which are the only zooids capable of sexual reproduction. The nurse enables rapid colony growth, while the gonozooids ensure genetic diversity through external fertilization. The other zooids support the colony through feeding, nutrient distribution, and dispersal. In Doliolids, the colony is loosely integrated. Some zooids swim independently, while others remain attached to the stolon. Ecologically, Doliolids are important planktonic grazers, often forming massive swarms that stretch for kilometers. They help recycle nutrients by consuming microscopic algae, serve as prey for larger animals, and transport carbon to the deep sea when their bodies sink, playing a key role in the biological carbon pump. Next is the order Salpida, or the Salps. Salps resemble Doliolids in shape, but are typically much larger, with some species growing up to 20 centimeters. They are found worldwide, but are especially common in the Southern Ocean. Salps also alternate between sexual and asexual phases, but their life cycle differs from Doliolids. A fertilized egg develops into a tailed larvae, which quickly transforms into a solitary asexual oozoid. The oozoid then reproduces asexually by budding off chains of zooids called blastozoids, which make up the sexual generation. Salps use jet propulsion for both movement and feeding. As water is drawn through the body, it passes over a mucus net secreted by the pharynx. Tiny plankton and organic particles get trapped in this net, which is then ingested. Salps are highly efficient filter feeders, capable of filtering thousands of times their body volume in water each day. Their ability to feed on smaller, more abundant phytoplankton allows them to outcompete many crustacean zooplankton, especially in nutrient-poor waters. When phytoplankton blooms occur, salps can form enormous swarms that filter vast amounts of seawater. This makes them especially important in carbon export, rapidly transferring carbon from the surface to the deep sea and reshaping entire planktonic ecosystems. The third and final Thaliacean order is Pyrosomida, which includes the Pyrosomes. There are only about 8 recognized species, but their unique appearance and glowing displays have earned them many common names: sea pickles, fire bodies, sea worms, and even cockroaches of the sea. Pyrosomes are always colonial, forming large, hollow, tube-like colonies made of thousands of embedded zooids within a shared tunic. Unlike Doliolids and Salps, they don't have a solitary phase. The entire colony swims and feeds together, coordinating movement through jet propulsion. They are found in the open ocean and undergo daily vertical migration, descending during the day and rising to the surface at night. The most striking feature of pyrosomes is their bioluminescence. They glow vivid blue or green, and this glow can be triggered by touch, motion, or light. The bioluminescence often spreads throughout the colony, as if the zooids are communicating with one another. The name pyrosome literally means fire body, referring to this glowing phenomenon. Like other Thaliaceans, pyrosomes are prolific filter feeders, processing thousands of litres of water daily. They play a crucial role in regulating microbial populations, clearing the water column, and repackaging nutrients into more usable forms for other marine animals. Their sheer size and filtering ability makes them powerful agents of biogeochemical cycling in the oceans. The third class of tunicates is Ascidiacea, commonly known as the sea squirts. It's the largest class, but also the most problematic. It is polyphyletic, meaning it doesn't include all of its closest evolutionary relatives. Depending on the study, Ascidiacea typically includes 2 distinct lineages, but one of these lineages appears to be more closely related to the Thaliaceans than to other sea squirts. More research is needed to resolve this phylogeny. Some scientists have proposed lumping Thaliaceans into this class to make it monophyletic, while others suggest splitting the existing sea squirt lineages into separate classes. However, no official taxonomic change has been adopted yet. With around 2,300 species worldwide, sea squirts make up the vast majority of tunicates. They are easily distinguished from the other classes, as adult sea squirts are sessile, anchored to a surface and unable to move. While the pelagic tunicates typically live only days to a few weeks, many Ascidiaceans can live for months or even years, making them relatively long-lived for their size. Given the phylogenetic issues in this class, let's treat the 2 lineages separately. The first lineage is tentatively called Interrogona, a clade that includes 2 orders, Aplousobranchia and Phlebobranchia. The name Interrogona was historically used based on morphology and proved somewhat problematic, but here it's applied in a slightly updated way to reflect current, though still unsettled, scientific understanding. Aplousobranchia is the most colonial of the sea squirt orders. Colonies often share a common tunic and can form large branching structures. Like other tunicates, they reproduce both sexually and asexually. Eggs are often incubated internally, rather than being released directly into the water, and these produce tadpole-like larvae. These are the only free-swimming stage in their life cycle. Once a larva finds a suitable place, it settles, undergoing metamorphosis, and becomes the founding member of a new colony. This founding zooid then reproduces asexually by budding, forming new, genetically identical individuals. While each colony is clonal, sexual reproduction ensures genetic diversity between colonies. In Aplousobranchians, zooids often take on specialized roles within the colony, including sexual reproduction, releasing sperm and eggs into the water for external fertilization. Although this role specialization is similar to the division of Larvaceans and Doliolids, it's generally less rigid in Ascidiacean colonies, with zooids often retaining similar forms despite their different functions. Although there are some reports of solitary Aplousobranchians, no species are confirmed to be truly solitary. Species in the genus Clavellina may appear solitary because their zooids are only loosely connected, but they still form colonies. Likewise, newly founded colonies may appear solitary before budding begins. Morphologically, Aplousobranchians are considered simple. The name literally means simple gills, and their pharynx lacks blood vessels, unlike other sea squirts. They are all filter feeders, a common tunicate trait, but as we'll see shortly, the other Ascidiacean groups have notable exceptions. No exceptions are known in Aplousobranchia. Phlebobranchia is the other order within Enterogona. Its species have blood vessels in the pharynx, unlike Aplousobranchians, but still retain relatively simple body plans. Most are solitary, though a few species do form colonies. They are hermaphroditic, but unusually for tunicates, most species release only sperm into the water. Others then take up the sperm to fertilize their eggs internally. Some species, however, release both sperm and eggs for external fertilization. As in other sea squirts, the larval stage is mobile, but the adult is sessile. Unlike most other tunicates, Phlebobranchians typically do not reproduce asexually. Only a few colonial species are capable of budding. Most are filter feeders, but there's a striking exception, the ghostfish, Megalodicopia hians. This deep-sea species lives on canyon walls and the deep sea floor, at depths to 1,000 meters or 3,300 feet. Depths where few tunicates are found. Of the thousands of tunicate species, fewer than 100 are adapted to the deep sea. Uniquely, the ghostfish is the only known predatory tunicate. Though sessile, it is an ambush predator, using a mouth-like siphon to snap shut on prey. This adaptation likely evolved to survive in nutrient-scarce deep-sea environments where filter feeding is less effective. The second lineage of sea squirts consists of a single order, Stolidobranchia. These tunicates are characterized by a thick tunic wall and a highly folded pharynx, which increases surface area for filter feeding. They are also the only tunicates that lack an abdomen. Their gut and gonads are located within the pharynx itself. All Stolidobranchians are sessile. The group includes both solitary and colonial species. All reproduce sexually, while only the colonial species reproduce asexually. Their life cycle follows the general tunicate pattern, but with some notable differences. For example, it's more common for them to retain developing larvae inside the body before releasing them, somewhat like how mammals gestate their young, though on a much simpler scale. One especially unique feature of colonial Stolidobranchians is the presence of zooid renewal cycles. Individual zooids live only briefly, ranging from a few days to a few weeks, and then undergo coordinated degeneration. While this is happening, new asexual buds are developing. These take over as the old zooids are reabsorbed. This cycle allows the colony to continually rejuvenate, potentially living indefinitely as a superorganism made up of ever-replacing zooids. What makes this so remarkable is the synchronized, programmed death and rebirth of all zooids within a colony, a strategy that may be unique among animals. Although filter feeding is the rule among Stolidobranchians, the genus Mulgula or sea grapes may represent an exception. While most species within the genus are typical solitary feeders, one species, Mulgula occulta, appears to deviate significantly. Its larvae are highly unusual for a tunicate. They lack tails and cannot swim, relying entirely on yolk reserves for nourishment until they settle and metamorphose. Even as adults, they may not feed at all, or do so only minimally. M. occulta has a highly reduced pharynx, possibly rendering it incapable of filter feeding, although this may vary with environmental conditions. Unlike most Ascidiaceans, which can live for months or even years, M. occulta's adult lifespan appears to be quite short, possibly lasting just a few weeks, though this remains difficult to confirm due to the species' rarity and cryptic lifestyle. I hope you enjoyed this deep dive into an often overlooked group of invertebrates. Tunicates are our closest living invertebrate relatives, yet they include some of the ocean's strangest and most diverse creatures. From filter-feeding sea squirts to jet-propelled salps and deep-sea predators, they've evolved a remarkable range of forms and lifestyles. Despite their simple appearance, tunicates play vital roles in marine ecosystems and offer insights into their own evolutionary origins. They remind us that even the strangest animals can be deeply connected to the story of life. So, if this video sparked your curiosity, don't let it stop here. Share it, talk about it, and keep learning. The more people who know about strange invertebrates like tunicates, the better chance we have to ensure they're still here for generations to come. Thanks for watching. If there's another fascinating species you'd like to learn more about, let me know in the comments below.